Murang'a County is at the heart of the Mount Kenya politics. It is the home of the late Kenneth Njindo Matiba and former vocal KANU Secretary General and Cabinet Minister, the late Joseph Kamotho. Just like in previous years, focus will be on Murang'a this August as the succession politics takes center stage. Former Gatanga MP Peter Kenneth and County Women Representative Sabina Chege will be in the running for space in national politics. Back home, the exit of Murang'a Gubernatorial has created a tremendous political opportunity. More than 8 aspirants have lined up seeking to replace the outgoing governor. They include Moses Ndungu Mwangi of Safina Party, Irungu Nyakera of the Farmers Party, Joseph Mbai of Usawa Kwa Wote Party, Wairagu Wamai of DP Party, Irungu Kangata of UDA, former Kigumo MP Jamlek Kamau of Jubilee Party, and Engineer Joshua Toro of UPU Party. Voters in Murang'a County say they will be looking to elect a leadership that will address their needs. The prices of coffee and milk have provided fodder for the political class, with aspirants promising to turn around farmers' fortunes. Voters also say they will be demanding policies that will impact positive change in livelihoods, help build more roads, and provide jobs for thousands of youth. The inroads made by the Deputy President and the United Democratic Alliance Party have seen the Jubilee Party activate its grassroots mobilization machinery in the last couple of months to recapture lost ground. Focus will also be on the senatorial and county women representative races. The verdict will be out on 9th of August. Kamchemenza for the Murang'a County Profile.
Good evening and welcome to the second edition of the gubernatorial debate. We're holding it in County 021, Murang'a County. 6 candidates sitting behind me, sharing a platform to elucidate their vision for Murang'a County. They want to succeed Governor Murang'a Gubernatorial, who is best fit among them to succeed him. That's our conversation tonight. Murang'a Decides is our hashtag at KBC Channel 1. Kiora and Nancy Okware will be taking questions from our audience. Nancy.
Kiora na bila shaka mtazamaji, leo hii tumetua katika kaunti ya Murang'a, na kile ambacho wengi wanasema ni ya kwamba wanasiasa watazungumza, lakini aliye na ya mwisho ama la mwisho kusema ni mwananchi. Na hivyo basi kwenye upande huu wa pili nitakuwa nachukua baadhi ya maswali na maoni kutoka kwa wananchi, kwa wale wawaniaji wa kiti cha ugavana. Na vile vile wewe mtazamaji, ikiwa haukufika hapa usiwe na shaka, manake katika mitandao yetu ya kijamii utatupata pale kwenye Twitter @KBC Channel 1, @Nancy Okware, @Kiora, na vile vile pale kwenye Facebook @KBC Channel 1 News. Kumbuka ya kwamba ukituma maswali yako pale tutakuwa tunawauliza wawaniaji ambao wamewasili hapa tayari kuzungumza nawe mtazamaji, na vile vile mkazi wa kaunti ya Murang'a. Lakini kwa sasa hivi na kurejesha kwake mwenzangu John Jacob Kiora aendeshe mjadala kwa sasa.
Thank you very much, Nancy Okware. Let me start by introducing the candidates who are already in the hall. We are live from the Murang'a University of Technology, and we appreciate our audience. A round of applause for yourselves. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. From the UDA party, the current senator for Murang'a County, Dr. Irungu Kangata. You're very much welcome. You can appreciate him. Irungu Nyakera, former PS for Planning and now running on Farmers Party. Thank you very much. We also have Maina Kamau Henry, an independent candidate running for governor in the county. We also have Joseph Mbai, the CEC for Health in Murang'a County, now running on Usawa Kwa Wote. And Dr. Moses Mwangi running on Safina Party. And I would want to state from the onset that we expect the former PS for Water, that is Irungu Wamai or Irungu Wairago. We extended this invitation to Jamlek Kamau of the Jubilee Party. He's a no-show till now. The rules of this debate is that each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the questions asked, and you'll also have an extra 1 minute for a rebuttal if you're mentioned in this debate. We will not applaud as the audience, but what we'll do at the end of the show or when we're going for a break, we can always appreciate the candidates that we have. And our conversation begins right about now. And I'll start with you, Dr. Irungu Kang'ata. Having been senator, member of parliament for Kiora, why do you want to be governor in Murang'a?
Thank you so much for the question. It's about the vision that I have for the people of Murang'a. And they're about 4 agendas that have given priority. Number 1, healthcare. When you look at Murang'a County Development Integrated Plan of 2018 to 2022, it indicates that Murang'a has only 272 health facilities. I think they are too insufficient to serve a population of about 1 million. Secondly, when you look at the document that has been published by the NHIF, it indicates out of households, 320,000 households, it's only about 40,000 households that have the NHIF. So it is my dream to expand the coverage of that card. Number 2 is the issue concerning minimum guaranteed return. It is an agenda of my party to establish a mechanism where we shall support the farmers. We ensure that whenever they are planting, whatever they are planting, at least we give them a guarantee of their commodity. Thirdly, it is my dream to initiate Ward Development Fund. I took that bill in the Senate, it passed, but when it went to the National Assembly, it was torpedoed. So it is also my vision that we institute it in Murang'a so that we decentralize services further. And finally, I have been able to get a DG who is an expert in land economics, and she told me out of 10 households, only 3 households have title for several reasons. And therefore, she will bring expertise on matters land so that we title more land. We create what we call an economic free zone so that we incentivize investment. We also create a situation where we are able to create employment for our huge burgeoning unemployed young population. As per that plan, the current unemployment rate in Murang'a is 17.67 unemployment rate.
Irungu Nyakera, what are your key priorities as you explain to us with your 2 minutes why you want to be governor in Murang'a County?
Thank you very much, JK. And I think for me, one is I'm a son of Murang'a, and I've been brought up by the community. And I've served both in the private and public sector. And really at this point, I feel that in my way of giving back to the society, is actually service to humanity and service to the people, my people of Murang'a. And really that's why I want to be governor in Murang'a. I believe there are a lot of things that I can do, a lot of change that we can bring, but I won't be able to do it alone. I'll only be able to do it when I carry the people along. My priority agendas is, 1 is agriculture. I'm a firm believer that agriculture, which currently constitutes about 22% of our GDP and employs a workforce of about 67%, both directly and indirectly, actually can give us a lot more jobs and revenues in this county by us enhancing the revenues through enhancing yields, as well as looking at all these other issues around the value chain and ensuring that we streamline that. Also looking for new markets. Murang'a was a county that was very rich in the years yonder, and really was because of coffee, of tea, and dairy. And now we have new crops being avocados and macadamia. So for me, my key priority is actually how do we revive agriculture and put money in people's pockets. Secondly, personally, I'm young. I'm 40 years old, turned 40 last week, meaning that I'm actually the majority of the population in Murang'a actually is below my age, and so the issues and challenges are the same. Issues of joblessness, issues of drugs and alcohol abuse, issues of lack of skills. Those are things that we all need to address. These are our children, these are our contemporaries, and we need to find a way to actually uplift them. And then finally, it's the specific issues around health, which in Murang'a actually we are really trailing in issues of health and also issues of education. I'm a product of good education, and I would want other people to also enjoy the same. So by being a governor, I also, how do I bring all the stakeholders, both locally and nationally, and even internationally, to be able to provide that value to the people of Murang'a.
All right. Henry, why do you want to be governor? What are your key priorities in County 021?
Thank you for the question and also hosting us. And one of the things I know in Murang'a is poverty has always been there. Since the 60s, the 70s, and even now, poverty is there. And is mainly prophesied by even things like jiggers and lies and so on. So my entry point, because we have tried all these things, including agriculture, we have tried everything, I want to industrialize Murang'a. Industrialize in a very, very simple way. One, we have industries in Nairobi, in Deliver, in Roiro, in Thika, which we can be able to transform to Murang'a by, first of all, even creating warehouses for those industries so that they feel the need to come closer to Murang'a. That is my key entry point. However, being one of the architects of Vision 2030, I have a lot of pride in the 3 pillars of Vision 2030, namely the economic, political, and social. And economic is very leading, but it cannot drive properly if the political environment is not right. So that is why I'm here as anticipating to be the governor for Murang'a, because I know through politics I can be able to enter the scene and drive the economic agenda for Murang'a through the industrialization process and through other issues relating to the economy. And on the social scene, certainly, which is very, very important to us.
Because the 2 minutes are almost over.
Yes, just let me talk about the social scene because it's affected Murang'a most. It has affected our youth. It has affected our ladies. We have so many single mothers and a few single fathers, and the people who are in those places which we call Mongedo. And these are an area I want to address because it is the people who will drive this economy. So I cannot fail to address that social scene. Okay. So political, economic, and social agenda.
All right.
Okay.
Mbai of Usawa Water, having served the CEC in the Ministry of Health in Murang'a County, what are your immediate priorities? And probably would want to hear you start from the aspect of health because you've been in charge for years.
I think I'm the most advantaged aspirant in this forum because I have things I have done in Murang'a that people can see. It is not only promising when I'm vying. Because when I came to Murang'a in 2013, we had facilities that didn't have equipment, didn't have staff, didn't have better services, quality care. And I want to give an example of Murang'a Hospital, which is called Murang'a County Referral Hospital. In 2013, Murang'a Hospital could not be referred to as a referral hospital. Today, there is an ICU of 35 beds. There is a renal dialysis of 14 beds and another 3 in ICU. There is an oxygen plant running which produces 500 liters of oxygen per minute. There is a satellite for blood where people can go donate blood, screened, and given to patients. We have improved our theaters in such that we are doing even implants. People who get accident and they get bone injuries, they no longer have to go to Kenyatta or Kijabe to get their implants done. We are doing even hip replacement in Murang'a. We have reduced the journeys of ambulance to Nairobi because majority of those things we can do them here. When I came in 2013, we had 116 public health facilities. As I leave, I've left them 155. We didn't have theater in Kangema, we didn't have a theater in Kiora, we didn't have a theater in Kigumo, and I have left those theaters running where even pregnant mothers can go deliver there, get a CS done, and they go home happy. So in terms of other issues of health, you've asked me what is my priority. The issue we talk about that I have seen that really make Murang'a people suffer is hospital bills. I have dealt with hospital bills in a very serious manner. That I've never allowed a Murang'a patient to suffer to go and sell their cow or their land as long as that patient is within Murang'a boundaries because of a bill. We have cushioned those patients using government money, and when we look at NHIF had issues initially, which we are trying to solve right now. We've registered a number of patients into NHIF, but if you look at what NHIF covers, they don't cover all the things. But I know because we are doing reforms as a ministry, one of my priorities will be to register all people in NHIF, those who can afford. And because I have done analysis and I've realized out of the 327 households in Murang'a, only 47,000 are very poor. And government can pay for them 6,000 per month. That will translate to about 280 million per year. And once you put them in that cover, they will be able to be catered for and cushioned so that they don't sell their land or their cow.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Moses Mwangi, tried 2 times, 2013, 2017, unsuccessful. Are your priorities still the same?
Thank you very much. I'm the only guy here. This is my third. That means that I have a vision for the people of Murang'a, which has not been accomplished. Today, as we speak, 10 out of 100 households in Murang'a, there is someone who buys medicine every month for diabetes, for high blood pressure. They buy. And that is a real pain to our people. Health is wealth. And in my vision, health is a very important pillar of what we want to achieve. When I'm governor, within the first 100 days, Murang'a people will go to a hospital and go home with medicine. It is true. There are many physical facilities that have been built by the current government. But I tell you, it is just brick and mortar. There is no service. People don't have medicine. Na tunasema daktari ni dawa. Na dawa, if you don't have medicine, you have not solved the problem. So it is very important. The healthcare system, in spite of the fact that some progress has been made, is really on its knees. And I come to solve that. Number 2, which is very, very important, is to have a proper functional government. We have to empower our people to be part of the decision making. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. We want to begin at the village level, make sure that at that village level there is a village council that participates in the decision making of what projects do we do, what do we do. And that village then joins together at the ward level, and then that joins together at the sub-county level, so that at sub-county level we have a clear manifesto. When we are making budget, we are looking at that. And Mwananchi, during what we call public participation, which hardly happens here in Murang'a, when I'm governor, Murang'a people participate in the decision making of their government. And then we have to have prudent management of resources. There is a lot of money that comes into this county. Every year, my friends here receive about 7 billion, and then there is some more money that comes. On an annual basis, you are looking at 9 to 10 billion. Murang'a people, this belongs to Murang'a people, and it is important they have a stake in how it is used, and it should be used well. Then I must add that economic empowerment is central to my agenda: economic empowerment and job creation. Agribusiness. Murang'a is an agricultural county. We are the biggest producer of tea, 10 tea factories. We must make sure we build on what has already been achieved by the Jubilee administration on the tea sector, on coffee. Look at the value chain for agriculture, value chain for milk. Make sure that the farmer gets the benefit. And then value addition so that we create jobs. And then on the social aspect, Murang'a is the center of music talent. We have sportsmen and sportswomen of this county. We need to make sure that at village level, our football, our netball have tournaments that are going on around. We go all the way. We have a celebration at a county level. We tap the music talent. We need to empower our young people to be able to enjoy the talents that they have.
All right.
So my one-liner.
Very quickly.
Empowerment and job creation.
Empowerment and job creation. Senator Dr. Kangata, you've been the senator for the last 5 years. Tell us how you've played your oversight role as senator, because you've seen, Dr. Mwangi say much of what has happened, particularly in the construction of hospitals, is brick and mortar, at least according to him. How have you played your oversight role, particularly on the Mwangi area government, to warrant the people of Murang'a to trust you, to elect you now as governor?
When Mwangi area decided, in his wisdom, to freeze the farmers, the milk farmers' money, the farmers came to me. I went to court using my own resources, and I was able to unfreeze their resources. That is Kiarotara Dairy. We have Kigoro in Gatanga. We also have Kigumo, what we call Kangare Dairy. We have Maragwa, Genda Dairy. Also, we have Kahuro, which is in Keharu. Those 5 cooperatives, they produce about 60% of the entire milk, which used to be taken to Murang'a factory. It was by sheer neglect when the governor decided to freeze their money. And I want to say I'm happy through those interventions. Currently, those 5 cooperatives, they are being paid 45 shillings per litre, unlike those who are still going the other way around, who are currently being paid only 40 shillings per litre. When Murang'a government entered into a pact with Nairobi and Kiambu and the so-called metropolitan counties to bring what we call a landfill, and the agreement was to be taking the entire refuse from Nairobi and Kiambu and the so-called metropolitan regions to Keno at a place called Gikono. We fought single-handedly against that proposal, and it was cancelled. But of course, we ensured some benefits which were coming out of that program were realized, including the tarmacking of the road from a place we call PK Primary up to the Gikono area in Kemorori Wempa. When the county government of Murang'a, again, decided to come up with a bill which was to overregulate the so-called avocado sector. And they were proposing that whenever you want to plant avocado, you have to pay the county government. Whenever you establish a nursery for avocado, you have to pay the county government. Whenever you want to pluck your avocado, again, you have to pay the county government. The net effect of that bill, if it would have passed, was to oppress the avocado farmer. It took us personal initiative to fight the county government of Murang'a, and we succeeded. That avocado bill was shelved. If you recall that saga, it almost took a physical fight. I recall when we were meeting with the farmers at Jogo Kimaki in Gatanga, the current governor came with goons. And it's only that I decided to be peaceful. And I told my farmers, we disperse, we shall use other way to stop that bill. They went to disrupt a meeting of the deputy president at Kenyoho in Kandara, where they met wrath of DP supporters. Of course, if you have been following his public remarks, he has even been insulting me in public. But then again, I've said I do not do personalized politics.
Okay.
And therefore, once he insults me, I used to tell him, I can't go to that level. That's not my kind of politics.
Fantastic. I want us to take a breather, but of course when we come back, each one of you will be elucidating their pointers towards improving agriculture. As a country that, as a county that is rich on coffee, tea, maize, beans, milk, macadamia, mangoes, and avocado, I would want to hear from each one of you what vision you have about improving the status of agriculture in this county and value addition, and it will be interesting to hear from all of you. Once again, our audience, let's clap for our aspirants. A fantastic job so far. We're taking a breather. When we come back, we continue engaging the aspirants who are running for governor in Murang'a County. Don't go too far.
Boresha maisha na bima. Maisha hayatabiriki, huenda kukawa na panda shuka. Iwapo utashindwa kulipia bima yako malipo ya kila mwezi, usiwe na wasiwasi. Pata bima ili kuhakikisha yote yatakuwa sawa.
6 partner states, 300 million people, and a combined GDP of more than 240 billion US dollars. The East African community is becoming bigger and broader. But is this good for the regional bloc?
The benefits will be felt immediately. And indeed, they're already being felt by way of certain industries like the banking sector taking a first mover advantage of going and seeing how they can promote businesses between the East African community.
This week on Inside Government, we're talking to the Principal Secretary in the State Department of EAC, Dr. Kevin Desai, on the importance of DRC Congo becoming a member of the East African community, and what does this mean for Kenya? Watch the conversation right here on KBC Channel 1.
Why are you in Echo's clothes?
I thought it'd be more discreet if I wore men's clothes. So I just borrowed Echo's gear. If you want me to forget it, I'll do that for you. I'll pretend nothing happened.
Correct. And I think he maybe...
Speak.
But I'm really confused. Kali's a sensible girl, and Rhoda's just a playboy. How could this two be together? Hey.
And 98% of the passenger transit in any country, most particularly Kenyans, happens on roads.
Kwanza ningempa kongole sana Mr. President. Barabara si kitu ya transport peke yake. Sisi ni ofisi yetu.
Muuza mboga, muuza matunda, muuza kila kitu hapa. Ni barabara ndio kupeleka.
Tuna pongezi kubwa sana kwa sababu barabara imetengenezwa mzuri. Wametutengenezea barabara kama ya Ulaya.
Yote haya kwenye KBC Channel 1.
Mpambe Gibson Gadhu Mbugwa almaarufu prosecutor kwenye kipindi Ukipendacho Vioja Mahakamani kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1 anaomba usaidizi wako kudhibiti gharama ya matibabu ya figo. Jamaa na marafiki wameandaa mchango mnamo tarehe 11 mwezi ujao wa 6 kwenye ukumbi wa Charter Hall, jumba la City Hall jijini Nairobi. Waweza kutuma mchango wako kwa paybill number 247247, nambari ya akaunti 777626. Gibson amekuwa mwandani wako na wangu kwa muda usiopungua miaka 40 sasa. Ni zamu yetu nasi tuwe wandani wake wakati huu mgumu.
sexual violence has become a recurrent and a brutal feature in the general elections in Kenya since the 1990s. What makes electoral-related sexual violence stand out?
A lot of insecurity around the electoral period. So there is opportunistic, for example, rape.
So when I opened the gate is when I realized that he had bad intentions. And so he came in, we had a fight, he violated me.
Person really wrestles alone. And because of stigma, then there is the idea of you die in silence.
If all these organizations and governments were doing their work, or rather things are in place, elections, there'll be no issue about sexual violence around elections.
Murang'a County, code 021, is located in the former Central Province of Kenya. It borders Kirinyaga County to the east, Nyandarua County to the west, Kiambu County to the south, and Nyeri County to the north. The county headquarters are in Murang'a town. Murang'a County has a population of 1,056,640 people according to 2019 Kenya Housing and Population Census. Murang'a has 8 sub-counties: Kiharu, Mathioya, Kangema, Gatanga, Kigumo, Kandara, Kahuro, and Murang'a South, covering the county's 2,558.8 square kilometers. The county has 7 constituencies with 587,126 registered voters as per the 2017 IEBC register. They include Kangema, Mathioya, Kiharu, Kigumo, Maragua, Kandara, and Gatanga. Agriculture is the predominant economic activity in the county, with 80% of the population relying on it for sustenance. The main agricultural products are coffee, honey, maize, beans, tea, milk, and fish. The governor who has served Murang'a County to date is Mwangi wa Iria. The late opposition leader Kenneth Stanley Jindo Matiba hailed from Murang'a.
Welcome back. You're watching the gubernatorial debate in Murang'a County, County 021, and we continue to engage the aspirants. Right about now, we've been joined by Waira Wamai, the immediate former PS for Water, who joins us this evening. Karibu sana PS.
Asante.
Let's obviously begin, before I engage the rest, with your vision and your key priority areas for governor, if you're elected as governor Murang'a County.
Thank you very much, and let me start by apologizing for coming late. I got held up by the voters whom I went to engage over the day, and I want to sincerely apologize for that. My name is Waira Wamai. I'm a former principal secretary in the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, where I left on 8th of February this year. I am vying for governor in this county, 021, Murang'a County. And my background actually is in the public service. I have a wealth of experience in the public service, but let me talk about my last 4 years where I've been, because that's where I earned my name of Waira Wamai, or if you like, Kwaura Kwaura. That's the slogan that the Murang'a people know me with. And the vision that I have for Murang'a is actually big. I want to vie for governor in this county. And the reason that I want to vie for that position is that as I was traversing this county, giving people water, I discovered that there are a lot of other issues that require to be addressed. And My interaction with the Murang'a people, and we refer to Murang'a people as Wanjiko, that's the name that's referred to the ordinary people, is that more to the water issues that they had. They also want to be assisted in resolving a number of issues. And born out of that, I decided to resign as a principal secretary in the national government and come down home so that I can be able to be of help. Now, my driving force is first and foremost to accomplish the projects that I had begun when I was PS for water. I drove the water coverage in this county from 52% to the current 80%. And that told me that a lot of things can be achieved with the goodwill of the people of Murang'a. And my journey to 2027 is to make sure that all homes have water. I want to have a tap for every home by 2027. That is my first agenda, and I want to come and follow up on the projects I had begun. There are quite many, and they need to be nurtured.
Okay, all right.
The second issue is...
and I'm sure I'll be asking you follow-up questions about your agenda.
Okay.
But you appear to be on edge because of allegations made by Dr. Moses Mwangi and Irungu Kangata. You have 1 minute to respond, very quickly.
You know, it saddens me when leaders come to national television to tell lies. And I have been the Minister of Health for Murang'a County for the last 5 years. I'm saddened to hear my colleagues say that our hospitals are just brick and mortar. I want to tell him here and now that services are happening in those hospitals. Because, you see, majority of us you see here, they don't go to hospitals in Murang'a. When they get sick, they go to Nairobi or other places. When their relatives get sick, they take them to those other places. Me, my relatives, my wife, my family, they all come to Murang'a to get services. And when you say that our facilities are just brick and mortar, I want to challenge him to go to the ICU today. There are patients there. Right now there are 9 patients who are receiving oxygen, being treated, getting medicine. And when you say that a hospital does not have those facilities and they are there, that is very sad. So I want to request that he visits those places so that he can see what is happening.
Let me ask you a quick one.
Yes.
Because Murang'a County, for example,
yes,
has been cited by KEMSA for non-payment of drugs before.
Yes.
At some point, some dispensaries and hospitals in Murang'a didn't have drugs because of non-payment to KEMSA. You still think that's a good record?
Good question. In 2019, there is a law that was signed by the President called the KEMSA Amendment Act 2019 that gave us no mandate to buy medicine from any other place other than KEMSA. And all the monies that were supposed to come to the counties were given to KEMSA. So that me, as the Minister of Health, I was supposed to draw drugs from KEMSA. And then, when that money was put there, that law is very clear that if you buy medicine from any other source other than KEMSA, you are liable to a jail term of 5 years or a fine of 2 million or both. So my hands were tied. So I couldn't get medicine from KEMSA. KEMSA had issues themselves. And if you look at how KEMSA has behaved, KEMSA is the one that messed us during COVID time.
All right.
So we can't defend KEMSA right here.
We can't defend KEMSA.
Because they have really messed us.
Obviously, with what is coming up, I have to change gears from agriculture very quickly. Let's just indulge ourselves into the aspect.
Also, that as a leader, he needs to solve his issues with Murang'a area, personal issues, personally out there. But
audience, quickly, sorry.
Not on national television.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you have 1 minute for rebuttal before we engage, very quickly, and there will be no other rebuttals. Solve your personal issues with Murang'a area, that's what Mbai says?
No, there is nothing personal.
Okay.
For me, I'm just expanding my work, and therefore, I have nothing personal against anyone.
All right.
In fact, when you remember that tussle, It is him who was insulting me. It was not me insulting him.
All right.
I rarely insult anyone.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Let's deal with the issues of health. Audience, I said we don't clap so that we allow these, aspirants to respond to these questions. I will tell you when to clap. But what do you think ails the health sector in Murang'a County over these years and that you intend to fix in 2 minutes?
I think the key issue is we've not been prioritizing health in the county. And you see, we say where there is smoke, there's fire. Everyone can be complaining about something that does not exist. Everywhere I go to meet the people of Murang'a, they tell me, fix health. Just fix health. Don't even give us anything. Yeah. A constituency like Madhioya does not even have a level 4 hospital. It has had the Nyakyanga Health Center for the last 10 years. You come to Kiora, there was budgetary allocation initially for the Kiora Hospital to be built about 10 years ago for a budget of about 200 million. So far, it's still about 150 million that has been put in there. You go to Kenneth Matiba, the hospital that we pay about 1.2 million a month, yeah, and still is not functional. You go to the hospitals, there is no medicine. Sometimes the people who go to even the accident and emergency unit, they're told to come with gloves. They come, so essentially, these issues that are being raised are real, yeah? And so we need to prioritize health because if you're sick, your parent is sick, your child is sick, you'll not even go to work. You will not have any other priority other than trying to get them healed. The people of, I was talking to the people in Thika, and they were telling me that most of the ambulances coming from into Thika are coming from Murang'a. So it means that the healthcare in Murang'a has actually not been prioritized. So all those issues, we actually need to find a way to deal with them. Okay. Every time I visit the hospitals, the different workers there, they talk to me about their issues and how they're demotivated. The payment is not coming on time and all that. So I think we need a complete overhaul of what's there. We need to bring in even an NHIF. Okay. How do we even increase the capitation within the county to even cater for the older people through the NHIF? How do we bring in the different cooperatives and get them to have their members take NHIF? So I think when you talk about health, even all the way from maternal and even to the elder care, it needs to be fixed. And I think there is a lot that needs to be done.
Your 2 minutes are over. What are your priorities, particularly on that aspect of the health sector?
Thank you very much. Actually, health features second after water, because we are told 60% of the diseases we have in the county are water-related. So if I resolve water issues, I will have only 40% of health issues. But to add on what my colleague has said, because these are matters that everybody is talking about, is that, okay, we need 2 level 4 hospitals in Madhioya and Ithanga. And then we also need to take care of our district hospital. And I think this is common talk that is out in the streets, that the services that we are getting in the health services are not actually up to date. So I think from where I look at it, we need a complete overhaul of the health structures. But then I want to add on the issue of taking care of the NHIF, because I have proposed in my manifesto to establish the Murang'a County Medical Relief Fund, so that we can be able to take care of the vulnerable and the vulnerable and the aged. For example, we need to take care of them so that they can be able to access medical services. So I think it depends on the management style that one establishes, so that we can bring back our health structures to shape. Thank you.
All right, Henry, healthcare.
Yes, thank you once again. I would like to start on the upper side. I want to deliver a healthy county. If you deliver a healthy county, even the accusations I've seen on this floor wouldn't be there, because really, if you look at what is ailing the health sector, possibly there is an element of corruption, if I listen to what I've been told on the crowd. And this may not even be related to any one of us standing here. It is a grade, possibly not even in the health sector, but also in the other sectors within the county government of Murang'a. But coming to health itself, I want to approach it in the sense of putting the health first by way of getting mobile hospitals. Mobile hospitals in the sense that we all are aware that we have community health volunteers, CHBs. I'm sure some of these people seated here are CHBs. And they collect wonderful data.
All right, hold it there. Let me interrupt you a bit because it appears like your sound levels are not okay, so that your sound levels are checked, and then we'll come back to you in a bit. But unfortunately, you appear to be in the dock here, but when we talk about healthcare in Murang'a County, you're the one on the dock because you've been in charge of that sector. When the allegation made by Iragawama that the services being provided are not up to date, the first place. Second thing, there is something made about people being asked to come with their own gloves or syringes when you were in charge. But there are those who also say the Kenneth Matiba health facility was probably the biggest scandal ever.
You know, rumors are very sweet to listen to. I want to challenge everyone in this room to walk to Kenneth Matiba tomorrow and see what is happening there. They will never say that again. We leased that house to offer services. We didn't have any intention of letting Murang'a people go without their eyes being checked, their dental being checked. And since we started that establishment, we have given more than 300,000 glasses to people, both readers and protective glasses, and even the ones that are correcting eyesight, either long or short. And we have done cataract surgeries there. Even tomorrow, if you go to Kenneth Matiba and you have a cataract, it will be removed and you'll be accommodated there for 3 days and you go home. But I'm wondering whether these people live in Murang'a, because do they really walk there and look at what is happening in those facilities? And health, the only thing we need to fix in health, I have been in that department for those 10 years, it is financing. Health financing is the problem. It is not all those things they are saying. Because when you get proper health financing, you can be able to give Murang'a County people the best health services ever. And I have struggled with health single-handedly, with few resources coming from national government and others coming from donors. I've even gone out to reach out to add to the little we have. I don't know whether anybody cares to know that HIV and TB is covered by donors. I don't know whether they know that.
In this county?
In this county.
All right.
Simply because we don't have enough money to finance that. Okay? So the issue of health is healthcare financing. The second issue, which we really sort out,
quickly, yes,
yeah, is primary health care. If we did hygiene, we always say prevention is better than cure. The community health strategy needs to be funded so that those community health volunteers can have, as they go to the households, they have glucometer to check sugar, they have blood sugar pressure machine to check the pressures of the citizens. We will be able to reduce the burden of disease by 40%. And a very good example has been said to us by COVID. COVID has taught us two very critical things in health. Number one, you can find yourself in Murang'a and you have nowhere to go. Number two, the burden of disease can reduce by 40% if we washed our hands. Diarrhea, typhoid, amoeba, even normal upper respiratory diseases have gone down by 40% just by mere washing hands and refusal to shake hands.
Okay.
So those are the things we really need to fix. And me, I have been there. I know where the shoe pinches.
All right. You talk about financing and primary health care. You are a medical doctor yourself. Tell us about what you think ought to be fixed in Murang'a County when it comes to issues of health care.
Now, I think access to health is a very important aspect. And under my administration, Murang'a people will not go beyond 5 kilometers before they find a functional health facilities. Functional means that they will find a healthcare professional who is ready and willing to serve them because we have taken care of them, we have provided the necessary material that they need, and they will go home with medicine. We need to restore the referral system from that primary level and make sure that we provide all the essential primary health that is needed at that level. And then in every sub-county in Murang'a, we must have at least one level 5 hospital. Murang'a,
in every sub-county?
Every sub-county. That's my goal. Murang'a Hospital should become a teaching and referral hospital. This university where we are, when we thought about it, and I was part of the team that wrote the vision and mission of Murang'a University at the beginning, we wanted it to be a teaching hospital where we can, a university where we can teach healthcare personnel. So at that level, then I think it's important. The infectious diseases are easy to deal with clean water and sanitation, very good, very important, and we must not overemphasize that.
All right.
But what is the current problem in Kenya, in Murang'a, in Mount Kenya region? We have the highest burden of non-communicable diseases, diabetes, hypertension, kidney problems, and cancer is catching up. And these things, if you have a patient, a person in a family suffering from cancer, where do we send them? Some of them are told, go to Kenyatta National Hospital. They spend all their time there moving up and down. By the time they see an oncologist, the disease has progressed. We will take one hospital in Murang'a, one, equip it with the right equipment for diagnosis of cancer, with the right personnel. We will twin this hospital with a hospital I know in India, a hospital I know in the US, so that we can quickly be able to collaborate. Telemedicine is something that we must have. You don't have to travel to KU teaching and referral. If you have the right equipment here, you can take the picture and you can diagnose. The doctors can agree what to do. This is something that we can do. Healthcare, and I must say, just to encourage my friend here, it was very good that COVID, one of the lessons of COVID, and I've been teaching about COVID all through, is that we were able to get 35 beds of ICU. Before COVID, in Murang'a County, we only had 6 beds of ICU. The 6 of them were in Kiora Mission Hospital.
All right.
Thanks to COVID, we have the 35. And they did a great job. And I think now we have patients coming to our ICU here in Murang'a. That was good. But I must add, you go to Dakaine, you will see a health center that was put by the community. It is there, brick and mortar, non-functional. You go to Makomboki, you'll find a healthcare center. In my own village, from 1994, I was involved in putting up Kaharo Health Center, where I'm part of. So when I talk about brick and mortar, I'm not talking like I don't live here.
Okay.
Everybody knows, and let's be honest. The best way to solve a problem is to accept you have a problem.
All right.
When you insist you don't have, you can solve it.
We'll need to move on. I'm still cognizant of the fact that Henry all right. I'm cognizant of the fact that Henry, I've not engaged you, and Dr. Kangata, also you've not been able to elucidate your vision for healthcare. But now, before I come to you, Nancy Okware, I don't know what you have from our audience, and then we come back to the debate.
Shukran sana mwenzangu John Jacob Kiora. Bila shaka mtazamaji, mengi yamesemwa, kumeangaziwa mengi hasa masuala ya afya, masuala ya kilimo, lakini mtazamaji na vile vile wale ambao wako hapa wako na maswali, na hivyo basi ningependa tu kuchukua baadhi ambayo tutakuwa tunayaelekeza kwa wale wawaniaji wa kiti cha ugavana. Pengine tukianza na wewe, tueleze jina lako na swali lako ni lipi?
Okay. So my name is Oscar Kimani. I'm running a coffee program in Murang'a County and other Mount Kenya counties. My concern is our county has the lowest prices, the lowest quality, and the lowest production of coffee in the Mount Kenya region. I would want to get from each of you, what is your plan to make sure that our coffee comes back? Because all of you know that in the early years, that our coffee cooperatives were actually lending even to other counties. I would want to know what is your plan to make sure that coffee is prioritized in this county. Thank you.
Naam, thank you so much. Let's get another question. Tueleze jina lako na swali lako ni lipi. Utaangalia tu kamera pale. Nitakushikia kipasa sauti.
Okay, my name is Jack Murure from Muraradi Ward.
Utaangalia kamera.
And my concern is on health sector.
I've listened to everything, but I've not heard anything from allocations, which do not match with the sector's demand. So I would want to know much more. I would want to know how much more they want to uplift structures that will make health more affordable than it is right now. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll get another question. Your name and what your question is.
Oh, my name is Caroline Kihugu. Okay, I wanted to ask our leaders, what is your plan concerning waste management that is both solid and liquid? As we know, at least with the pilot program for waste management here in Murang'a, at least 60% is covered. What is your plan to at least make it to 99, if not 100%? And in areas, especially Mokoyo and Majoi's areas, we have no sewer lines. What is your plan concerning that? Thank you.
All right, we could get another question before we hand it over to John Jacob Kiora. Your name and your question.
Okay, my name is Benson Juguna. I come from Kandara. My question goes to Honorable Kangata. You wrote, we all know that you wrote a letter to President Uhuru. What benefit, direct benefit to the people of Murang'a concerning that letter? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Naam, kwa sasa tuelekee kwake mwenzangu John Jacob Kiora ayaelekeze yale maswali kwa wagombeaji, kisha tutachukua tu maswali mengine baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu. John Jacob.
All right, thank you very much, Nancy Okware. I'm sure Senator Kangata, you'll be responding to the letter and whether it had any direct benefit. But let's just wind up on the health sector and then we'll get to those responses. Henry, coming back to you very quickly, in 1 minute and a half to elucidate your vision for health sector in Murang'a County. Very quickly.
Thank you, and sorry for that interruption. I started saying about community health volunteers, and I wanted to explain how we will tackle this so that we make a bit healthy nation, because it doesn't make sense for us to continue constructing hospitals. It's just like constructing jails instead of curbing crime. If you handle the primary health area, certainly you don't require to expand so many hospitals, just like you don't require to expand jails when you are handling crime. Now, but the point I had is I want to introduce a Cuban model whereby the CHV data that is collected on the village level, we are able to send a mobile hospital to that particular area. If you identify tuberculosis or chest diseases are common in that area, you'll be able to send the experts in that area. They don't have to come all the way to the level 5 or level 6. They can be seen at the point of where they are able to. And one of the problems I have seen around the country is that so many people dying in their home beds because they cannot even reach to the shopping center or where they can take a vehicle, and even that vehicle they don't have money to pay. So the Cuban model, the mobile hospitals will assist. And more important, you know about drugs manufacturing in this country. There are so many cartels in the drug industry, even pharmaceutical industry. You realize that for every hospital, there are a host of pharmacies or chemists out there. And when you go to the hospital inside, you are told the prescription, the pharmacy is around the corner. We must cap that. And one thing that has not come out of this debate is that in the 70s, in the 80s, we used to manufacture drugs in most of our hospitals, led by Kenyatta Referral Hospital. Even here in Murang'a, if there must be a drug manufacturing industry unit which has since been run down. Okay. And we realize this can happen when we realize we can even make oxygen, we can even make the aerators locally. So we will revert to drug manufacturing so that every hospital or the main hospital in Murang'a is able to manufacture the basic drugs. That way we will be closer, we will reduce the burden of medicine to our communities, and the few that you face it with subsidized drugs which we are manufacturing, and the pharmacies can move away from the gates of the hospitals. All right. Thank you.
Dr. Kangata, and at this point, let me say that we are also live on Shoro FM, is our sister radio station broadcasting in Kikuyu language. We are live on Shoro FM, we are live on YouTube, we are live on SET, we are live on Facebook at KBC Channel 1. Dr. Kangata, before responding to the letter, because that's what you're famous with the letter. Talk about the health sector. There's something Mbaya raises about financing. You've been the senator for Murang'a County. Talk about financing the health sector. And there's a question asked by one of the audience about allocation that goes to healthcare or even the county vis-a-vis the sector demands. Obviously, I see you elucidate your vision for the health sector in Murang'a County.
Let me say that we have not won the governor's seat yet, no? That's why we are campaigning each and every day. But I suspect there is one battle that you have won, I suspect. The great battle of ideas. I say that because we were the first ones to raise the issue concerning healthcare. I used to do several medical camps in the entire Murang'a County, and we didn't start when I became a senator. Way back when I was an MCA, while still at the University of Nairobi. And since that period, one of the reasons we have been doing that, using our own personal resources, is trying to understand what ails the health sector. And one, health is largely devolved. And therefore, as to how much a governor will allocate health is purely an issue to be decided by the governor. You have to check at what we call Murang'a County Integrated Development Plan of 2018 up to 2022. You check what is the projected or planned allocation by the governor or the county government to healthcare. From where I sit, it has been underfunded by the current executive. I strongly believe from where I sit, a good governor would, number one, make peace with the human resource. That is the clinical officers, the doctors, the nurses. I am happy to report that I had a meeting with the nurses here in Murang'a County. We had a discussion as to what can we do to improve the health sector. And one of the agreements we agreed is immediately we win this position, God willing, we will negotiate with them some court case they have been fighting with the current government concerning unpaid arrears. And secondly, on that issue, we will increase the capitation to the health sector to a level where, God willing, we shall be able to increase the coverage of NHIF card. As I said when I was starting the program, currently only about 40,000 households have NHIF card. Yeah, it is possible to increase that number using government's, county government-owned resources. And there is an advantage of taking that approach. Unlike other forms of expenditure, when you give money to NHIF, it is not a money that goes forever. You can recoup that money. How? Once the members of public come to seek services to your public hospitals. And therefore, it is a win-win situation. Let me now go to the letter with your permission.
Very quickly.
Let me first take this opportunity to thank my friend for asking that question. And how I wish majority of Murang'a people and Kenyans read the entire content of that letter. The reason being, among the issues I raised as to why I thought BBI was not very popular in our region was economic issues. And I raised and I proposed to His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta that we need to do intervention as a government on matters coffee, on matters tea. Immediately after that letter became controversial, if you recall, C.S. Munya came to Murang'a County. He went around, and I was present, proposing changes to the law. And therefore, to a certain extent, I suspect, were it not for that letter, most likely those interventions would not have been done. Immediately after the letter, if you recall, there was hastening of what we call amendments to the Tea Act in Parliament, which I also take advantage that we were able to shepherd as the chief whip then. And some of those reforms, both in coffee sector and proposed reforms in the tea sector, have a positive impact on the Murang'a. But be that as it may, the reason why the letter gained traction is one issue only: the idea of speaking truth to the power. We are really not for that. In this country, very few people would agree to risk their position. Remember, I was a top-ranking government official, and I said, I suspect BBI will not go through. I was kicked out. But tell me, my brother, did BBI pass or fail? It failed. So meaning, what had written in the letter came to pass.
All right. All right, Dr. Kangata, quite a response there. Let's go to issues of agriculture because clearly there's so much to cover. You've been a champion for tea and coffee sector reforms, Irongo Nyakera. I want to hear your plan for value addition and agro-processing in this county, but most importantly also, to stop the over-reliance on crop production. In 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I think the Murang'a is an agrarian county, and even when we're talking about industrializing Murang'a, we're really just talking about agro-processing because that's what we produce. And Murang'a is rich, our riches come from tea, coffee, macadamia, milk, and avocados, largely. We also have horticulture. So the areas that we really need to touch on those ones. So on tea, the chairman was just the chairman of the task force on price stabilization, which we created the price stabilization mechanism that will guarantee the return to farmers. And we already agreed on having a seed funding of about 9 billion from the government. And on the back of that, on the coffee reforms, we also propose that the stabilization, price stabilization mechanism that we put on the Tea Act also be put in place on the same, so that we can look at how to shield the farmers, both coffee and tea, from falling prices. Also, when we are looking at avocados, because now we need to also look at the avocados and the milk. When you look at the avocados, one of the key issues of avocado is Murang'a is the largest grower of avocado. Last year we got about 4.6 billion coming to this county from avocado. But increasingly, we are growing more avocado. So the question is, where will these avocados go? So we need actually to put up export, if it's a factory for processing and exporting avocados, there's already a pack house that has been put up in Ngararia, funded through the World Bank. How can we expand that so that we can be able to actually export more of the same? When you look at the value addition that you mentioned about tea, Murang'a has the highest number of tea factories. We have 10 factories. If these 10 factories can actually all come together and have a value addition plan like the one we have in Kericho for the Ketepa, then it means that we can be able to actually value add our tea and export it beyond. When you look at value addition in coffee, actually it's almost nil here in Murang'a. No factory has roasters. All the factories, once they do the primary, the processing, they export the beans for sale. But going back to what we used to have, the Murang'a Coffee Union, and the milling that can actually be brought into Murang'a Coffee Union, that can actually take it to the next level. And we all know that through value addition, we can actually increase the value that goes to the farmer's pocket by 5 or 6 times. If you look at bananas, bananas again is major and is huge in Murang'a. If you look at bananas, value addition in bananas can actually be done. I tried it. I put together some groups in Kahumbu and in Kamahoha, which we started processing, drying and grinding and packaging banana flour, and then finding ways of selling that flour. The flour went from 6 shillings per kilogram to about 32 shillings per kilogram, meaning that by doing that value addition, but now in larger scale, and even getting the certifications like the KEBS and the others, it means that we can actually be able to push up the price of the same. Then finally, if you look at the lower part of Murang'a, it's rich in the mangoes and oranges. And every time we come to an election time, we promise them a fruit processing plant. We can see what that fruit processing plant has done in areas like in Makueni, where the farmers, when they see their fruits hanging in the trees, they don't see waste. They actually see money. So again, we need to look at how we help them on that. Then finally on dairy.
That's the second finally.
Finally on dairy. Yeah. The value addition on dairy. We've seen counties like in constituencies like in Kiambu, Githongori, dairy alone. It's able to actually have revenues of about 6 billion shillings. And it is one constituency. Murang'a last year we did about 2.3 billion shillings. We are 7 constituencies. So what is it that they are doing that we are not doing so we can learn from that to actually build in the value addition to get more value for the farmers.
All right. Here's Wairago. As you elucidate your vision for agriculture in this county, probably respond to one of the questions asked here about our coffee setting the lowest prices, being low quality coffee, and also considering the fact that the biggest coffee billionaires in this country do not even have a single plantation of coffee.
Thank you, Jack. In my manifesto, we treat coffee as the black gold. And we have said that we want to be a little bit more practical. We know the glory that coffee had in the 70s and the early 80s. And my approach is actually to have all the 144 factories modernized with the modern pulping machines, because that's what they miss. This morning I was in one of the factories called Loaro, and I exactly did that. And I think if we do that, we will be able to help our farmers. We want to bring back the seedlings they used to have, Roiro 11 and the Batian seedlings, so that we can bring back glory of the braggle that I've talked about. So I think I look at it practically. We need to have the farmers come back to what we used to have, because the farmers know exactly how they used to do it. Now, when I look at the other aspects of agriculture, we have tea, we have horticulture, we have the other food crops that we have in the county. In Kandara, the area that my colleague has mentioned here, I know where the factory is going to be put up. I have actually sunk a borehole. As I stand here, I did a borehole there at a place called Diaraine, so that I prepare for the establishment of that factory. On bananas, at a place called Kianjiroine, I sunk another borehole there in preparation of the ripening factory for the bananas. I also opined to do a multi-fruit factory in Maragua, so that we can be able to harness on our mangoes. So I want to link up the farmers with the markets. Okay. And I'll establish the Murang'a Marketing and Export Promotion Council, so that we can be able to exactly do that, so that we can be able to link up our farmers and the markets.
All right. Henry, your vision for agriculture in Murang'a?
Let me say, it doesn't matter how many years or decades we go around this issue of agriculture, because what we are saying now is exactly what was said 10 years ago, in the 80s, in the 70s. We still treat the farmers in a cycle, and they remain in a cycle of poverty. So what I have said in my manifesto is, there is nothing that you leave the county of Murang'a unless it has been value added. It does not make sense to do exactly the same things over several decades and expect different results. We still get it there. We can improve the coffee, we can improve the tea, we can improve even the avocados which are coming up. But unless we change our mentality and make sure that we do value addition at the county level, not taking to Nairobi, but doing it here. And that ties very well with my industrialization process. And I'll go further to even encourage cottage industries. Cottage industries means at the village level, so that even if it's at macadamia, you'll be able to have simple machines where you can roast them and package them at that point, so that even when the broker comes, it goes as value added. I like your question that the billionaires don't even stay here. They don't even know how coffee is grown. You find them in Mombasa. And that is why even if you try to play around with the Coffee Act, you'll find that there are still hurdles that you cannot even roast your coffee. Luckily, I have a team of experts working on that already, led by my deputy, my running mate, who is a lawyer, so that we try looking at these laws which are antagonizing the farmers all the time. We try to move. We are like the dingoing or that black nini. We cannot giza them pila. We are still there. And Chairman, I agree with you entirely that 60s, 70s, 80s, those people who have been there know exactly the coffee factories that we had are the same. The tea factories are still the same, using the same technology, use the same thing. We will not move anywhere unless we must stay. We have our value addition in our county, not outside the county. When we stick to that, you earn something.
Okay.
If you cannot earn anything, then let's stop farming that item because it doesn't add to the farmer. We are just making other people reach out there. Thank you.
Joseph Mbai, having come from a semi-arid area in this county, as you talk about your vision for agriculture, talk about bringing about an agricultural policy that does not leave behind the likes of Kambiti, Idanga, Canberra, and so on.
Thank you very much. My vision on agriculture actually is quite elaborate, may not fit into 2 minutes, but the experience I have, because I have sat in cabinet where we have discussed agriculture in Murang'a County, the problem we have in all those products, starting from coffee, avocado, milk, mangoes, and all those other products that actually are supposed to have made Murang'a the richest county in Kenya, is because all those processes are in the hands of a few people. Rarely would you find the farmer benefiting. So, coffee, we talk of value addition. We must make sure that we have mills that are doing our own coffee in Murang'a. As a governor, I would want to walk into a supermarket like Magunando and I buy coffee made in Murang'a. Written Murang'a County coffee, Murang'a County milk, Murang'a County tea, Murang'a County macadamia, something like that. So that then we also need to look at the laws. You know, there are laws that that actually be there for all those sectors, and they make us suffer. It's like the laws were made to suffocate the farmer. We need to look at those laws. In the tea sector, there are so many. In the coffee sector, they are there. We need to look at that. And because agriculture is a devolved function, the first thing I will do is to look at those laws, bring them to the county assembly, and try and make sure that we make laws that fit the farmer's pocket. So that, because my intention is to make sure that the farmer gets the best. If you look at something like avocado, I went to a meeting where all the avocado exporters came. And if you look at them, they are billionaires and they don't have trees. So the only thing we need to do about avocado is we do pack houses. You can do one in Maragua, one in Kandara, one in Kigumo, one in every sub-county. And then once the farmer brings the avocado there, it is washed, waxed, sized, and put in the cold room. Right now in China, they are buying frozen avocado in tons. So we really need to make sure that we have those products helping the farmers themselves. So if I create that law that says that exporter has to come to Murang'a to buy our produce, we shall be telling them that we need you to buy at this price. Then the other thing is marketing.
Very quickly.
Yes, we have to continuously market our produce so that those markets that are emerging, like China now, there's a lot of market, we are able to sell at a good price where the farmer can put a lot of money in the pocket, but not enriching few cartels who are managing these sectors right now.
Okay. Yeah. Dr. Mwangi, your vision for agriculture very quickly.
Thank you very much. I think I'm one of the aspirants who has hands-on experience. When we come to health, I've been CEO for many years in health sector. Currently, I am CEO of an agro-processing farm. Here in Maragua, we supply all our hospitals.
Kindly audience, let's give the guests.
We supply all our hospitals in Kenya with what we call fortified blended food, which we manufacture in Maragua through agricultural value addition. And we are putting up another. Now, remember, my main agenda is empowerment and job creation as an overriding agenda. And in the agriculture, I have an agenda, kilimo, biashara, faida kwa mkulima. In there, we look at the value chain for each of the crops and make sure that the farmer gets more value. There's a lot to do there. I cannot claim to be the expert. I will work with the people who are in tea, who are in coffee, who are in milk, who are in avocado, to make sure that we understand the value chain and make sure that the farmer gets more. In my administration, When you come to Murang'a County government, we shall roll out a red carpet for entrepreneurs. I have an agenda called Partnership in Development, PPP, Private-Public Partnership. In this day and age, we have learned in Kenya that government does not know how to do business. The role of government is to provide an enabling environment for private sector to be able to invest. So through the PPP, we should be able to look, for example, at avocado. I was working for a multinational. Once I was in a city called Lyon in France. I went to a supermarket. I bought an avocado at 1.4 euros. 1.4 euros. And that avocado had come from Kandara. If you multiply what 1.4 euros is, you'll see it's more than 200 shillings. And it was bought possibly for 5 shillings, 8 shillings. How is it? And it was only put in a plane and it lay there. What value do you add by that? So we look at that, and in each of the crops that we produce, we must bring ourselves together. I'm a good team player. Bring the teams together, discuss, then come up with the appropriate steps. Some of them don't require new laws. What they require is goodwill. And then, you say there are many billionaires who don't work here. Let me say to you this. We need to attract investors here. You see the plains of Maragua, that area, with that flat land there, we should be seeing agricultural processing plants there, where we can be able to really add value to our product. But the practical part of it, because we can talk, you can have 1 million intentions. One baby step is worth more than 1 million intentions. It is about the practicality. PPP, let's work with the people who can invest so that our agriculture gives us value.
All right. Before I engage Dr. Kangata on the same, Nancy Okware.
Shukran sana Jacob Kiora. Kwa kweli wananchi hapa wana maswali zaidi, na hivyo basi tutakuwa tunachukua tu mengine na kuyaelekeza kwa waniaji ambao wamewasili. Tueleze jina lako na swali lako ni lipi?
Good evening. My name is Jack Norris Kipkogei, one of the student representatives this evening here. My question I want to direct to Dr. Irungu Kangata. We are aware that when you were the area MB Kiaru constituency, you led a team that was sponsoring a bill that seek the bill that was seeking to care for the students that were going to graduate in universities, a bill that insulated us from being exposed to help payment interest. And so the bill, unfortunately, the bill never sailed through. And we want to understand what is the future of that bill. And now that you have quitted the legislation podium, what are the future deliverables that you are going to ensure that that bill is revived? Because we here as students who are going to graduate, we would wish to have ourselves being free of help payment and given a grace period. And maybe a last question to Bwana Irungu Nyakera and Joseph Wairagu. Yesterday, there was an ugly incident over there at Kaduri Ward where it was captured at Daily Nation that there was a clash between some two groups and it was associated to you. We want to understand, how are you going to be agents of peace in your campaigns? How are you going to restructure your campaigns? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your name and your question briefly.
Okay, hello. I'm a Fantas Masheria, and I'm an entrepreneur in Murang'a County. My question goes to Honorable Irungu Kangata. And the first one is about sports entrepreneurship. And my main question is all about the talents that you have in Murang'a County. We've seen like a country like Rwanda, they are doing something called sports tourism, and that is something that I tend to believe that will bring a lot of revenue to our own country. And also number two, it's all about Silicon Valley kind of a thing, so that we from Murang'a County, we know that most of billionaires in Kenya come out from Murang'a, and we are business oriented. How can you harness business minds in Murang'a County so that they can be able to be sponsored, so that they can get their ideas and their businesses into working?
Thank you. Finally, just briefly.
Okay, thank you. To all the aspirants, I want you to please make your ears to me. Give me your ears. I am Jackstron Owino, and my question is like this. I've done my statistics and I've found that not less than a minimum of 50 student comrades do quit school and defer due to lack of fees. To me, I've applied for bursaries more than 4 times, but I've been excluded that I am a Luo. I don't know the reason why. So I want to ask both of you, all of you, if let me say that you get into that office, what model will you use to help the needy comrades like us? Because someone like me, even if I jump to my portal today, I have a huge fee, but I accept anyone who is willing to help me. So which model can you use to help the needy comrades like us? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I'd like to hand it back to John Jacob Kiora so that he can direct the questions to the aspirants. JJ.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Quite a number of questions directed at Senator Kangata. Probably you should start with your vision for agriculture. And because you had spoken about it earlier when you were speaking, probably use a minute to elucidate your vision for agriculture and then respond to the questions asked to you.
Thank you so much for those questions. Let me start with the issue of agriculture. The size of Murang'a is 2,500 square kilometers. And out of that entire land surface, agriculture occupies about 60%. And therefore, we need to put a lot of effort to ensure that we uplift agriculture. We have about 160 coffee factories. We have 10 tea factories. From where I sit, the number one intervention should be to create an enabling environment to attract agro-processing factories. And for me, I would propose that we do zoning and we give some tax rebates for a certain region so that we can attract investors who can add value in avocado, macadamia, and also when it comes to coffee and tea and milk, my party, we have proposed something called minimum guaranteed return. How does it work? It works this way. When, let's say, for instance, you are a milk farmer, before you go and do your work and you take your milk to the market, at least you need to be given some guarantee as to what price you are going to get in the marketplace. And that may entail, for instance, the county government allocating some funds which can be sent directly to the farmers, which will be equivalent to their inputs. And that way, you may boost production. This is something, from where I sit, I will definitely champion. And we are proposing we start with milk and also mangoes. Why mangoes? Because the entire lower belt, that is location 20 in Keharu, Makoyo, Kamahoha, Kambiti, Idanga, and Kakuzi, is a very good belt for growing of mangoes. When you look at our milk sector, it is predominantly in the coffee and in the tea zones. So therefore, once we pilot with those two, if it works, definitely we can consider to extend it to those other key areas.
All right.
Let me now come to the issue concerning the help. First, I used to be a student leader at the University of Nairobi. And when I see young comrades, I really feel for them. One, understand their struggles. Yeah, they're undergoing a lot of financial difficulties. And therefore, based on that experience, when I was a member of parliament of this constituency called Keharu, I brought an amendment to Higher Education Loans Board Act, proposing several things. Number one, that help should now allow, if you go to the university at the age of 17, you should be entitled to help. Otherwise, currently, if you don't have an ID, you can't get help. And I know of so many young people who are joining university under 18. That was number one proposal. Number two, I was proposing we increase the government allocation to help. From the day, since I was in the university, almost, 20 years ago, I was an undergraduate. Universities used to get, HELP used to get about 10 billion Kenya shillings. An average university student used to be given 35,000 shillings per annum. Up to now, despite the skyrocketing inflation rate, people are still getting the same kind of allocation. Right. So it was proposed we increase. The other proposal was, once you get out of the universities, currently, if you don't repay immediately, they will take you to CRB, which is very unfair. You're a young university student, you have no job, they have taken you to CRB. So that is double punishment. You have no job, you are blacklisted. So I took that amendment to Parliament. The truth is, it passed.
Okay.
The problem is, when it went to the President, he issued what we call a veto. To supersede a veto, you need to mobilize two-thirds of members of Parliament.
So is there hope, Dr. Kangata, very quickly?
So the law passed, but it was vetoed by the President.
All right.
And therefore, I would propose you support William Samoei Ruto. He may revive my bill. God
Silicon Valley, tapping from the business acumen from Murang'a County. That you will take just a minute, very quickly.
Yes, definitely. Murang'a, we take pride that we are the ones who started the cooperative movement, which morphed into what we call the Cooperative Bank of Kenya. Our sons and daughters are the ones behind Equity Bank. Based on that, one of my key advisors happens to be the one for the longest of period was superintending what we call Wings to Fly in Equity, Mr. Kebiru. And therefore, I would propose, God willing, if we get that position, he'll be able to guide me as to what policies we can enact in Murang'a County to harness business opportunity, and also we are able to expand what we call GDP per capita for the Murang'a person.
Okay. Irungu Nyakere, political hygiene. What was that about? Because I saw you on Twitter lamenting about what had happened to you, allegedly in the hands of Wairago Wamai, and now both of you risk being locked out of running for office.
Yeah, first, let me say that there is really no place for violence in this country, and more so around the election cycle. What happened there was very unfortunate. And currently, like today, I wrote to IEBC after the DCIO and the DCI concluded the investigations, and they've submitted all that. On Sunday this week, our team were in Gaturi. Also happened that the team for Wairago was also in Gaturi. And in the morning of that day, my team member had told me about it, and I told them to organize, they change the route if they need to. But that was my 35th ward, so there was no other ward where we could have gone to. So before even getting to the site, I was called and told that there was violence being meted on my people, and including smashing of my vehicles, and my driver his hand was cut at the palm, and they were brandishing guns. You see, it was just an unfortunate scenario. I was not there. And at that point, because the PS is my friend, I took my phone and called him just to ask what's going on, so that if there is any issue, we can resolve it. Of course, he didn't pick. Yeah. So by the time I got there, yeah, they had already left. Yeah, and my vehicles were there, all of them smashed. And so the police came, and we took, they took the batons plus the joras.
And that's an active criminal matter.
Yeah, just one
very
second.
Quickly.
Just very quickly.
Yes.
And from there, of course, the full investigations went in. The report, the P3s from all the 7 people who were injured. One of them actually had internal bleeding and was bleeding from the ear from being hit. Yeah. So, yeah, if nothing is done, you see, we are all saying that we have another 75 days to go. Yeah. And if actually we don't take this seriously, it means that anytime you're leaving your campaigns at night, you will also be imagining that someone else is hiding somewhere and with their goons waiting to attack you. So we should not allow this to happen.
All right, thank you.
Country.
You have a rebuttal for 1 minute.
Jacob.
Yes.
I want to be categorical on this matter.
Yes.
If you check on my background, I have 26 years in the security sector. In fact, for 4 years, I was a secretary, internal security. It's on my record. let's not sensationalize security matters. They are extremely sensitive. Let's not prosecute security matters on this podium. I would urge that my colleague here does not engage the social media on security matters. It was a very, very simple matter. It would have been resolved. He's mentioning guns. He has no evidence. I don't carry guns. Nobody carries guns. My colleague here has been a principal secretary. He knows what we signed against as he left service. Let's not sensationalize security matters. On that particular day, I had an authorized road show. He never had, his was not even authorized. So let's leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. And let's wait for the security agencies to carry out their responsibility.
We'll leave it at that. 30 seconds to make a passionate appeal to Murang'a residents. 30 seconds only.
Thank you, and you are just limiting me when you give them a chance to prosecute each other. But on that matter alone, on that matter alone, let them behave like elders. Let them consort. Okay. Because we are here, some of us are elders, we can also advise. We don't want the young blood to boil, because sometimes it can boil. Right. And advice to our youth, don't be used by anybody whatsoever to spill your own blood. Tell anybody here to bring their own sons or daughters to come and fight for that for you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Henry. That's a very good point you make. That's a very good point.
Sorry, that was on that. On my appeal.
30 seconds, very quickly.
Yeah, now my that seconds, because that was for them. Now, my that seconds appeal for Murang'a people. I am a civil engineer. And when Professor Gachagua was teaching us civil engineering, civil means public, he was telling us an engineer is that person who, by way of training and experience, is able to transform the resources of nature for the benefit of mankind. So the person able to transform the resources of Murang'a for your benefit is studying in front of you today. And if you make a mistake in that exam that will come in August, you fail. Because exams, you are awarded an exam called ABCD. You choose one answer. And on that answer, there is two answers which always confuse you. So make sure that no answer here confuses you.
30 seconds. Bye.
Thank you very much. Murang'a residents, you know what I have done in health. Despite all the accusations, I have done my best. I have given my all. And my appeal to you is that come 9th August, vote for this Governor Joseph Mbai.
All right.
EBS.
Okay, Dr. Moses, very quickly, we're winding up.
Thank you. Just 2 seconds to say to my friends who are fighting on the streets. They say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. They need to be the company they keep that are likely to create chaos for us. We don't need chaos, we want a peaceful election. And for you, Murang'a people, Dr. Moses, I've been here. This is my 3rd time. I have a vision for you. The 160,000 of you who voted for me, be sure we are winning this time. Give me your vote. And those who didn't vote for me, Wanguairia is not there, come to Dr. Moses. We win.
Unfortunately, we have to put a cap on Murang'a Decides. Thank you, all of you, for turning up tonight and elucidating your visions. We hope we can engage you again so that you can elucidate your vision further, and wish you all the best in the upcoming elections. I don't have any other than 30 seconds because we have used up the time on questions as well as your responses to different issues. Thank you very much, audience. Appreciate yourself for coming and supporting your candidates here. That's why we put a cap on Murang'a Decides. Thank you very much for watching KBC Channel 1. Have yourself a good night. God bless you.
Tarehe 28 Mei barabara zote zinaelekea Harris Tavern, Nairobi. Manake kutakuwa na kongamano kubwa sana la rumba siku hiyo. Kikosi kizima cha Bridge Over Congo kimeandaa tamasha kali sana kwa nyinyi wapenzi wa mziki wa rumba.
Oh yes, there will be lots of fun. Talk of nyama choma, lots of drinks, lots of giveaways from KBC, and not forgetting to mention rumba music with DJ Walter. Oh, and did I mention that there'll be free t-shirts for the first 100 people.
Nitakuwa siku hiyo. Tafuta sheri. Kama una sheri, omba sheri. Nitakuwa your host Simeon Mfumo with my running mate
Winnie Marie Jose. Yay!
Na feel sahi unafuanze ku appreciate vitu zenye uko nazo.
Yeah, you're right.
Kupeleka kibandaski, kunywa kahawa na KDF.
I thought you were your boyfriend. Well, how about you just go see Nick and leave? They say the heart wants what it wants, but you want all the wrong things, honey. If I were you, I wouldn't get too close to Cassie.
Thank you for your advice.
Joe must be very happy with his choice.
I don't think he had a choice, really.
Watapatana. Unanitizia mimi? Hautajeju. Alafu ni aje kwani sikupata hela?
Madam Kathy is in the office.
You're not a good fit. Try somewhere else.
Mpambe Gibson Gadho Mbugua almaarufu prosecutor kwenye kipindi ukipendacho vioja mahakamani kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1 anaomba usaidizi wako kudhibiti gharama ya matibabu ya figo. Jamaa na marafiki wameandaa mchango mnamo tarehe 11 mwezi ujao wa 6 kwenye ukumbi wa Charter Hall, jumba la City Hall jijini Nairobi. Waweza kutuma mchango wako kwa paybill number 247247, nambari ya akaunti 777626. Gibson amekuwa mwanani wako na wangu kwa muda usiopungua miaka 40 sasa. Ni zamu yetu nasi tuwe wandani wake wakati huu mgumu.